So you already know I have my journals and my notebooks, but now this year I launched my first planner and I'm so excited. I got Spiral. I love Spiral. And then you can find it in hardcover as well. And I just have one page for like a vision board for the month. And then another day where you can put your important dates and if you want to add a quote. And then just your mood. You can keep track, to-do list, what you're grateful for, and then I use because I already have my planner. Oh, I use this to write myself letter each day, so that's how I finish my day, and it's actually working out. I really like it. But you can find this and more at lifewithfrancy.com/shop. Hello and welcome to Life with Francie podcast, a place where you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self love, self care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a place where we support one another in business and personal life. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Now, let's get the show started. This conversation was thanks to Podmatch, an amazing community for podcast guests and podcast hosts to have amazing collaboration like this one. You have tools and resources and a lot of goodie support in that community. So go check it out. The link will be in the description of the episode. On today's episode, I have the pleasure to speak to Lisa Sakai. I,
Yeah.
I'm always sucking at last name. Found her calling, providing financial advice and planning for female professionals and their families. Virtually, she focuses on bucket list planner and planning. I love that, and guiding her clients to leverage their dollars to love the lifestyle they love now. I absolutely love that. I can't wait to start the conversation with her. Welcome to the show. Tell us, what is life with you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And you did get my last name correct, so don't worry about that. So, life with me is, I would say, kind of fun. The funny thing is I work too much like everybody does, right? We're always working too much. But I would say life with me is trying to find that balance. And, my goal in life is to find happiness. And so if we're all trying to find happiness, we can't be having a bad time trying to do that. We got to have a good time doing it. So I do that with exercise regularly, doing meditation, and just trying to find the joy in life. One of the things I journal about every morning is bringing the joy and happiness. And how do you bring it to everyone that you're surrounded with? And you just get that back. Even if somebody's really mad at you, if you bring joy and happiness to them, they will start to cool down and realize that maybe it's not as traumatic as they think it is. So that's kind of what life is like with me. I exercise regularly. I feel like I do kickboxing, get that aggression out, kick stuff. And we cook at home, we work from home. So it's just, it's kind of a calm serenity kind of life, but I love it. I can't complain. So
I'm down for it. I love that. And I love that in the back that you have One Vision Retirement.
mhm.
Like,
Yep,
heck
that's us.
yeah, I want to know everything
Yeah.
about it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's our firm. And, when we were first, when Zoom was kind of taken off in 2020 and everything, everybody had their virtual backgrounds with the little, and I loved having our name of our company. And then when I'm in our office now and I don't need to do that, it's like, I miss it. I miss having there. So my husband was super sweet and got this from Amazon of all places. So it was great.
Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've been in the industry about 13 years now. This was a career change for me in some respects. I spent a lot of my 20s trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, and I think we pick on the millennials a little too much for that. I'm not a millennial, but but I think we do a little bit because it's hard to figure out what you want to do. So I was in Hollywood for years. And I helped on the talent agency side, and I loved doing that. I thought it was fun, but it wasn't super fulfilling for me. I didn't feel like I was making the real impact I wanted to, and I definitely wasn't getting that life work balance at all. It was all work all the time, right? And so I made the 180 switch to being a teacher. And I was a teacher for many years. I taught elementary school. And the whole world of teaching, anybody who's a teacher out there knows, is it's kind of a political world. I don't mean political Republican, Democrat. I mean like corporate, almost political world, much more than you kind of assume it is. And I just wasn't enjoying it. So our industry loves teachers, and so I moved into teaching and or into teaching really finance in many respects. That's why they like teachers in this world, and moved into doing financial planning so I can help people throughout their journey in finance and making sure that they're getting the most out of their lives. That was one of the things with teaching is I would work with a kid and then a year later they would move on to the next classroom and I had no impact anymore. And now I can keep impacting kids and adults and everybody involved with the family to make sure that they're living their best life. That's really my motto is how can we get you living the best life that you want and getting to financial independence as quickly as possible.
How can we do that? Please
Yeah.
tell
Yes. So
us.
there's a couple of different ways. I know everybody goes, well, give me the secret sauce. There's not really any secret sauce. The biggest thing I think is that a lot of times you kind of have to start with the mindset, which people don't talk about a lot. I don't care if you make $500,000 or $5,000 a year, your money mindset can be really screwed up. And I have people who make, $200,000 a year and they spend 250,000. Does not mean that they're in a better position in life than somebody who maybe makes 20 or $30,000 a year. It's about how you control the money you have. And I think if we can kind of get our mindset set around to just continue to fight the fight. I think we think of money, especially as women, we tend to think of money as something as evil or something that, you're not supposed to want it because that's kind of like what the bad guys want in movie. Like every bad guy is all money hungry and the good guy's like, forget money. It's about life, liberty, happiness, and you can't ever see the two together. And really, to get life, liberty, and happiness, you need to have control of your money so that you can use it for what you want to use it on rather than feeling like a slave to your money in many respects. A lot of people, when they're living paycheck to paycheck and it gets them really stressed out, they don't have that feeling of happiness. And that's really what we're all pursuing. Financial independence is about happiness. And so essentially, if we can start to do little things to get ourselves being clear and aware of our money, no matter where we are, and stop judging ourselves about where we are and start thinking ahead and going, but this is what's the potential that I could do if I do X, Y, and Z for long enough, then that shift actually pushes you to make some action steps that are so beneficial in the long run and that people don't realize. Just things like looking at your credit card statement once a month. People don't like doing it. And I actually say once a week would be better, but I'll take once a month. People don't like doing it because they want to beat themselves up when it comes to their finances. They want to say, oh, I shouldn't have bought this. We have these rules in our mind. This was a good financial decision and a bad financial decision, like good and bad rules. It's like eating, right? I always say it's like kind of like health, like this is good stuff you're supposed to eat and bad stuff you eat. But we all know that if you eat too much of the good stuff, you're still gaining weight. You're still not super healthy because just because it's good food doesn't mean, you still can do good things, but still do it in a bad way. And we can do bad things in a good way. We've all have that friend that's super skinny that eats like, a Snickers and you're like, what are you doing? But that's probably the one Snickers she eats all week. And she doesn't eat it like 15 times a week. So we have to kind of take away those good and bad rules. And when we're looking at our credit card statement once a week, it gives us clarity of what we're spending our money on. We forget about that $5 little something that we bought on Amazon or, big thing that we're doing now is like Instagram, Facebook. They're great advertisers. And we just go, oh, that little $25 nothing, that won't be anything. That'll be fine. I'll buy that. I'll buy this. And you start to see it add up and people are spending 3, 4, $500 extra on these little things that they think are just nothing. And so just getting that clarity that I don't want to do that anymore. I want to put that money away for me because I want to take care of me. You said in your opening, this is about self-care, mindset, that kind of thing. This to me is the greatest form of self-care that you can do is get control of your money so that you're telling your money where it's going, not your money telling you how you're supposed to act. And that's that shift that needs to happen. So if you can get to clarity and awareness, and the first step really is just looking at your credit card statement and making a concerted effort to change some of the things that you're not happy that you're doing. It's not really about anybody else, but it's about you. Then you're on your way to financial independence. I would say that's step number one to getting there.
I absolutely love that. And I'm a spender like everywhere. I'm an only child and I take after my mom with bad decisions, which is funny because the other day she was going to give me advice about my money. And I said, ma'am, I need you to step in the mirror and then tell that person that you see in the mirror what you're trying to tell me. And then when you accomplish what you just gave me the advice on, then you can tell me how you did it. But anyways,
Exactly. I know it's so much easier to give advice to other people than to take it yourself, right? Yeah, I
it
totally get
is.
it.
There's just certain things that I can get away with that I can tell my mom, like, hey, no, like, look yourself in the mirror first.
Of
But
course, she's your
finances
mom. Yeah.
is a huge one for me, as I said. And then, but this year, my word of the year is abundance.
Oh, I love it.
So, and I'm feeling it, and I love the energy that is around it because it's a different way of seeing my finances. And last year, I got rocket money, an
Oh,
app
yeah.
to see what's up because I get it. I understand that I have bad money habits, but it wasn't until they give you the percentage of where your money is going and they put it
Yeah.
in categories that I was like, okay, we need to do something about those categories and move some stuff around.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No.
you
No.
have to see it. You
Yeah,
have
you
to
do.
look at it because it's not you get it. You're like, oh yeah, I go to now. It's not Starbucks for me. It's Dutch Bros. So I go
Oh,
to
yeah.
Dutch Bros a lot, and hey, it's add up. $5 here, $7
Yeah.
there, $3
It
here,
does.
and it's not till you have it into a category that you're like, oh, okay, I love Dutch Bros. I don't have to quit Dutch Bros, but I don't have to spend $500 a year on and I'm being nice on Dutch Bros. Maybe I can come back and start making my own coffee at home, and it gives
Yeah,
you a different perspective. So I love that
it
mentioning
does.
you have to see it. You have to be
You
visual about
do.
your
You do have to look
finances.
at it. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. And that's why we created bucket list planning. A lot of people go, what does that mean? Do they just could check off stuff off my bucket list? You do, but you get to do it in a very strategic way. So you're going to use those things on your bucket list. Let's say, one of your bucket list items is to buy a new car, and you want to buy a new car in 2 or 3 years, right? And you have a certain car and you know what you want to pay for it and you know what it is, right? You use that bucket list item to help curve some of those things that you want to curve, like maybe going to Dutch Bros and buying too much. I actually had a client who was that daily Starbucks habit, go in. She was that person that they would walk and they'd be like, hey, and then they'd hand her stuff and she'd just walk out. Like they knew everything about her. And one day she had a bigger why. She had a bigger bucket list thing that she was trying to do. She put lots of detail. I love that vision board piece of your planner because I think that's so important. She really knew what she wanted in a lot of detail. The more detail you can put around your bucket list item, the better it is to motivate you. And she had her big why, and she walked into Starbucks and she took it and she started to walk out and went, why do I do this every day? Like, I don't even taste it anymore. It's not even enjoyable to me anymore because it's not a celebration anymore. It's just an everyday habit that I'm kind of abusing in her mind, is how she put it. And she stopped. I never told her she can go to Starbucks. I think that's the biggest thing is you have to curb your things for you some person like wagging their finger at you and saying, you shouldn't do that, but that's not going to help. You're just going to get defiant and go, this is my money. Like I get to spend it how I want to. But you know, if you feel like you've got a bigger why and you can make that shift. Now she goes like every 2 weeks and it's kind of like her, I deserve it. And she's like, it tastes better. And she saves so much money from just making it a special thing. So she didn't take it out of her lives, but she was able to put much more money towards her ultimate goal and was able to experience something amazing. Hers was to take a trip, you know, a lot sooner than she thought. She thought she'd have to wait to retirement to take this trip, but she's able to take it a lot sooner because of what she did, nothing that I did, because of what she did, because she refocused her priorities to the things she really wanted rather than using her money on some throwaway things that were very instant satisfaction that really in like 10 minutes from then she could care less about, honestly.
Yep, I love that. So, what else can you tell us about your program? Do you have a program or is it a one-on-one
Yeah.
coaching?
So it's one-on-one. So for anybody who's dealt with a financial planner before and anybody who hasn't, basically, we have a different setup than some do. So most people, when they think of financial advisors, they think you have to have a certain amount of money to invest with them to work with them. And for many of them, that's true. You have to have 250,000 or a million or whatever it is, their number is. And that's totally overwhelming for people. For us, we actually want to be able to help people who maybe don't have that money to invest or restarting. Maybe it's all in their 401k. Nobody can help you invest that, right? So essentially, we have programs that they can come and we map out a whole program to fit them. And bucket list planning is part of it if they want to put that in there. But it's typically like a 6 month just monthly consultation, and we get you all set up for your goals, how to do that, action items. You know, if you have investing questions, we can help with that, that kind of thing. So we're really at that point that we can work with people where they're at rather than necessarily having to hit a certain minimum or fit into a certain mold to get the help. Because how do you get to that number if you don't have anybody to help you? It can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and it truly is, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody is in different type of lifestyle. Because
Yeah.
I have been where I have paid gas with pennies. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I got $3. I hope that that gets me to where I need to go right now.
Exactly.
And now I'm in a much better season where I'm looking into investments and other things because
Oh,
now it's about making my money grow because clearly
exactly.
I'm not good with my money. So I can't just put it away and not touch it. I got to put away, lock it, and make sure it grows.
Yes. And I would change your mindset on that. You are good with money. You just now have a different purpose, which is your money is supposed to be making money for you, right?
Okay, I love that. And I'm
Because if you
trying
say
it.
you're bad at money, you're always going to feel like you're bad at money. So you're not bad at money. You just got a different focus now.
Yes, I definitely have to work on that mindset, and every little word counts. And
It
it's
does.
just crazy because you're so hard on yourself when you look at
Mm-hmm.
your finances.
Yeah.
But it's just like that. You change that mindset, you change the wording,
Yeah.
and you start bringing different
Oh,
feelings towards
totally.
that.
Yeah, totally. It really is about it's about how you see yourself. I mean, really, they talk about the, Jones next door kind of effect where as, people in America that we just sit there and we try to one up each other. We got to be better than the Joneses next door and stuff. I think it's less that, and I think it's more what are the Joneses doing that I'm not doing? And I have to get to their level in order to feel like I'm being successful. That's what I think is happening, not I have to show them, aren't they impressed with me necessarily. I think it's more of an internal side of we think that we're not doing things right. There's a term that I use that I'm sure a bunch of people in health don't like, but I use it as financial dysmorphia almost. We think that our situation is horrible and everybody else gets it. And why can't we figure it out? Why are we behind everyone else? Because we focus on people who are showing this grand lifestyle, this grand thing. Like I was looking at, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent, but I was looking at a TikTok, at TikToks on finance because I'm curious what's out there. And every single person who's on there that's telling you about their money is on a exotic beach or they're at a luxury spa or they're, and I'm like, the like, is that what is showing that you're wealthy? I mean, that's not really true. There's a whole book called The Millionaire Next Door saying that that's not true. You could have somebody who's driving a clunker around who has $2 million. That's not what wealth is supposed to be, that you have so much abundance that you're doing all this stuff. It's really about where is your harmony with where you are? How are you moving forward? And how can we get you to financial independence? Because I can tell you, people who are off constantly on beaches and spas and stuff, they don't really have financial independence. They might have a lot of money, but that doesn't mean that they could turn off their income stream and be fine for the rest of their lives. That's a big difference.
That's a huge
And
difference.
I think we've just got to switch that around and showing what actual wealth is. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. I mean, he goes to McDonald's every day and orders like a $4 something. That's his big thing. He still lives in the same house he always did in Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, he's one of the still one of the wealthiest men out there, and yet this is his life. He just is content with where he is. It's not really about being on a beach, soaking up the suns, hanging out with Martha Stewart. I mean, that's not what he's trying to do. So I think we've got to kind of take ourselves out of that and stop comparing ourselves to other people and saying, how am I going to find happiness? How do I get my finances in a place that I'm happy? And then I can do what I want to do. Because I can tell you there's a lot of women out there that going to a spa is not their idea of happiness. They're just doing it because their buddy wants to do it. They would rather go have a drink on the beach or go for a walk or go to yoga classes, unlimited yoga classes, because that's their joy, whatever that is. We just have to be really internalized with what we're doing and kind of take out that financial dysmorphia and just focus on us. This is the time to be selfish, is with your own money.
Definitely. Be selfish with your own money. And I
Yeah.
wanted to make a comment too on the comparison because those that I'm speaking from my own experience, and thanks to TikTok, I learned that people that I don't even know. I hope that my audio was fine. I just didn't even know that my audio was all the way down there, the microphone. Anyways, the joys of podcasting. But for comparison, in my case, people that deal with trauma too, they feel behind, and we are behind
Mhm.
because while we were in the survival mode,
Yeah.
we were trying to learn new coping mechanism. Where
Yeah.
somebody that doesn't come with trauma or as big of a trauma, they're learning new skills, so they
Yeah.
got the time to learn the skills. Because man, for the longest time, for a decade, I feel like, oh my gosh, so okay, so the 30s came and you're like, oh okay, so now I'm an adult, like I'm officially an adult, and I do not feel like an adult, and you start
No.
comparing yourself. That's the age, I will say, like early 30s, mid 30s, you're like, what the heck is going on? How is so and so has everything and I'm over here just barely making it? And it wasn't until TikTok showed up and said it was a therapist explaining, or somebody that was a client, that the therapist told them, you're in survival mode, so you're learning new
Mhm.
coping mechanisms. As to somebody that doesn't deal with that, they're learning new skills. So it's not that
Mhm.
you're behind, it's that you had to learn coping mechanisms to get to where you're at today, where now you're
Yes.
in a much better place, where it's where I'm at now, that I can learn new skills to get. So in my 40s, I'm not dealing with what I'm
Yeah.
dealing in my 30s right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, my husband came from, a very poor background. He definitely had trauma when it came to money and survival and that kind of stuff. And yet, he was able to pull through and do those things. And you're right. Those things that you get from these traumatic times really help you actually, you're slower at a slower start, but man, when you hit that, you go faster than other people do because you get it. Like you don't want to go back to that. You know what that feels like. You know that journey that you've had. And people like me who I grew up in a upper middle class family, I don't really know. I can know from his stories, I can know from, just other things, but I can't tell you that I understand going from not being able to eat to, owning your own house. Like, I don't know what that jump feels like. And once you can hit and get all those resources together for yourself and those coping mechanisms, you will bust out farther as long as you don't look at it around you. Just keep going, you know?
I love that. I love that. Is there
Yeah,
anything that we
absolutely.
didn't touch on when it comes to finances?
No, I mean, I could go on for hours and
I
hours
know, me
about this,
too.
but but no, I think that that's a really good, I mean, especially starting, getting into 2024 and stuff. I really think that if people can just take a small action step to start moving forward, that will add up to so much in the long run, and you will thank yourself for doing that.
I love that. Where can my listeners find you?
Yeah, so we have our website, which is onevisionretire.com. There's some resources on there. And if people go, yeah, I'm ready to do my action step, but I'm not really sure where, on the resources page, there's a piece called Baby Step Your Way to Financial Independence. They can download that. They do have to give us their email, just full disclosure. But essentially, they can download that and it gives a list of 15 different things you can start. They're very small things that you can start adding up if you want to, but just start with one and just start to engage in this financial side of our lives because we don't engage with it enough. So they can always do that. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn and all the platforms, so anybody can find me there. But probably starting our website is probably the best place to go.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so exciting to be on here.
And I forgot I have one more question that I started this year.
Sure.
What are you grateful for?
Oh, so much. I have to say for this week in particular, I'm super grateful for my clients. They have just been, I look at other advisors' clients, I'm like, they're not my people. But my clients are my people, and they're so open and they're so wonderfully accepting of advice and responsibility. And I've just been so blessed to have such wonderful clients. I'm super grateful for them this week for sure.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Life with Francie podcast. You can find it in all major platforms, as well as my YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, and you can find the links for my guests in the description of the episode. Hope you have a blessed day. Bye bye.